Greetings, YouTube family. Let's go. Happy Sunday. Good day, good day, good day. I hope everybody has enjoyed their day. I see we've had some events going on, right? On these YouTube streets. If you don't mind, can you put a one in the comment section in the chat if the volume is decent? I just want to start off by making sure there's a good balance on the audio so nobody's straining to hear me. And so if you could just put a one or a two if something needs to be adjusted, please feel free to say what that could be. I appreciate it. Welcome to my chat. Hey, Timo TV. Salute to you. Long time no see. A blessing. Thank you for being here. Always good to see you. We got Miss Alexander. Oh, hey, beautiful. It's so good to see you. And thank you so much for the birthday wish. I appreciate that. Salute to you, beautiful lady. Thank you. Yes, I thought I would come on. My people was like, don't you just take the day off? I say I take days off, but I want to go ahead and just definitely come on and give my little 2 cents on a topic that's hot on the streets, on all the streets, which is in the political arena, right? Man, I tell you, that's depending on who you talk to, that could be a really, it could yield different outcomes other than what you intend for it to. You got to be careful who you had these conversations with, especially in person or one-on-one and that kind of thing, right? So, yeah, but I'm definitely, it's safe here. It's safe from my platform, from the comforts of my personal space. So, comments, they can't really do much to me. But I'm telling you, boy, these people are really passionate about, and they're very serious about why, who, what, when, where. And you know what's funny is that, thank y'all, appreciate it. I don't know who sent it, but I'm gonna look. I am. I appreciate the blessings. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Always so good to see you as well. We got Bolo in the building. Bolo VNR. Yes, peace and blessings to my mods. If there are any content creators in the chat, please feel free to drop their links to their channels. Be much appreciated. We support one another over here on this side, right? Encourage one another, motivate one another, support one another. That's how it's supposed to be. So peace and blessings to you. Let's see who else we got in the chat. We got Calvin H. Thank you. Happy birthday. I receive it in the spirit that it is given. I appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank you for the love. I appreciate you. So, okay, so yeah, when we talk about this political thing, y'all, it is like, okay, so sometimes like I have to remind myself that what may be a no-brainer for me may not apply, and usually does not apply to people collectively. You gotta be mindful of people's reasonings, of their experiences, their belief systems. And to each his own. It's one of the things that in the past has made this country so unique, and in a lot of opinions great, because we have really been allowed, or it's been suggested that we've been allowed to have our own opinion and to vocalize our opinion as we see fit, as long as it's done in the spirit of respect, right? But it's now we're living in a time where it just seems like people don't really care about the respect avenue, as long as you getting your point across, or you receiving a point, that is being conveyed to you. So, it's an open arena, and it's a very high energy time and high strung time, where people are very vindicated and very set in to their system of beliefs, and why, again, as to why things are the way that they are. And but my question is, where do we go? Like, once all of this is said and done, are we going to be able to live with the personal decisions that we have made, right? Whether we vote at all, whether we pick and choose who we vote for, whether we're on the fence, whether people that, align themselves with a majority of the way that we believe, or we believe that the way our families would benefit, our generations would benefit coming after us. Are we okay with living with those decisions is my question, right? And I say that because I remember once Biden got elected, I mean, people were so into their emotions about how they felt and disliked Trump, and he got an attitude. He don't care about people. He's a businessman that only cares about his bottom line. But nobody wants to really talk about the economic standing that we had collectively over those 4 years during his tenure compared to what we're dealing with now. And we had so many people that were open and vocal about voting for Biden, primarily because they just didn't like Trump's attitude. They just didn't like the way he talked to people. They didn't like the way he dealt with the media. They didn't like this. They didn't like that. And now we got a lot of those same people that voted under that construct. Quiet as a church mouse. You can hear a mouse fart inside of a church corner. Okay? That's how quiet a lot of them been. And then the ones that haven't been quiet, they're still justifying, oh, well, if Trump's running again, it don't matter who's running against Trump. The fact of the matter is, I'm going to vote whoever his opponent is just because I don't want him in office. But then if you decide to get into a political discussion, debate, or however you describe it with that individual, and you start asking real pertinent questions, either they get mad because they can't answer it effectively, they gaslight you, or they start yelling, thinking it's going to change the subject of the discussion and take the focus off of the fact that they can't answer the question or answer it effectively, right? So I pose the question like, okay, so shout out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life. He keeps saying Kamala's going to win. Kamala's going to win. And based off of his, his assertion and the things that he's seen, in discussions he's had in person with people, he's drawing that conclusion, pretty much solidly, right? My thing is, okay, so if that's the case, the people that know how this is going to end, or we have a pretty good idea how this is going to end, right? Because first of all, if you look at the writing on the wall, we haven't been presented with any policies on this side of the current administration. And the difference between Kamala and Trump, in my opinion, is that the trophy or the baton has been passed to her, and she has done absolutely nothing since that has taken place but make promises about what she may or may not do. And they have been very loose promises, very generalized promises, in my opinion, or just flat out unreasonable promises, just because it sounds good to people that don't know no better, right? And so my thing is okay, so when all of this happens, where does that leave everybody at that point? And it's going to be too late. How many elections do we have to go through and live through in order to have it revealed to us that all of this is mumbo jumbo at the end of the day? I believe that presidents are selected and not elected. I felt that way for a very long time. History has proven that to be pretty consistent when it's all said and done. The game has been played very similarly, no matter who has been in run for political offices, no matter what capacity, whether it's local, whether it's federal, national. It is just it's like, and then 2024 being such a year where there's been so many and still continues to be so many things exposed. We are trying to understand, why are y'all still coming with the same old bullshit, right? Shout out to Miss Yo. Coming up with the same old game, the same old tactics, the same old rhetoric, the same old crap. And then you don't even break it down and explain it. You just say it just general enough to where it sounds good to most of the dumbed down society that you're talking to. Always been that way. Absolutely. Always, but that's my point though, Timo. It has always been that way. Well, how many more elections and how many more processes are we going to go through and act like this is going to be different? We've never had and I use this term very loosely, quote unquote, Indian Jamaican black woman running for presidency. We had a woman, and that was Hillary Clinton. And I think there was one prior to that based off of historic data, though I can't remember her name. But I'm just saying, like in modern day times, we're looking at history being made. And we are definitely looking at identity politics. I was in an eyebrow threading shop yesterday. And this lady's sister sitting next to me had on some AKA slippers, right? And I don't know, I must have had a certain look on my face or appearance wise that just made her comfortable to strike a conversation on politics with me. And I don't engage with strangers like that with politics, because when I saw them slippers, she told me all I needed to hear, right? Not saying all AKAs are like that, but I'm just saying I'm going to assume until you show me otherwise, right? And so she was like, she started off with the compliments and trying to soften me up and this and that, but I'm telling y'all, I picked it up right away. And she was like, what do you think about the first black woman becoming president? I mean, she was like certain, assured, and all of that. And I just looked at her with a smile on my face. And I said, sister, with all due respect, I said, we don't know who's going to win. And so I'd like to leave it at that and just come to get my service taken care of. But I wish you well. And I hope you have a beautiful day, right? And I left it at that. She got an attitude with me, y'all. She didn't say nothing, because what could she? I mean, she could have said something, but she really, you could tell her spirit was disturbed by my response. Like, how dare I not engage with her? And I'm like, I know when I smell a setup. And if you think we getting ready to go toe to toe, or I'm getting ready to go toe to toe with anybody I ain't never laid eyes on before, I don't care what affiliation you got another thought coming. First of all, it's my birthday weekend. Second of all, I am not arguing and expending my energy with no stranger about somebody that is already selected, in my opinion, to rule in office for the next 4 years. I'll take that back. Not even rule, but represent. That's what I'll say. Represent, because whoever is elected in office or selected is not going to rule, right? Now, and I feel like Trump has always been a threat, because he's one of the ones that, or few of the ones that have always bucked up against the grain and been so vocal enough to where people aren't accustomed to that, and they will call him rude even if he is right and what he's saying is true. Right? So with that being said, I like for people to speak for themselves if and when applicable, right? And with this situation, I think, even though we have probably all seen this time and time again, I just want to, elect to remind us of where just a couple of years ago this person stood and why she stood in the way that she did. And this is the same person that is telling us today that she don't really have any policies, and the ones that she does have, either she bit off of Trump, right? Or somebody told her to say it, and it's in such a general way that when you really sit down, and if you sit down to break that thing down and break it up, you like, that is some malarkey. How is that going to work, especially with the current state of this economy, right? The current state of things, the job market. We got an immigration status that is so overwhelming that in a minute, or actually currently now, it's just not being publicized by the media, in my opinion, that people are finding it very difficult to find one job, much less hold down 2, 3, or 4, which is absolutely not unreasonably required in this time of inflation and at the cost of everything. We got a federal interest rate that the last time I checked is at 7.5%. That's with good credit. Not to mention if your credit is jacked up, if you got a couple of erroneous or erroneous medical bill or something that has been out of your control, because a lot of companies won't even offer a sustainable health insurance plan that, unless you qualify for whether it's Obamacare or Medicaid or whatever they're offering at this point in time, all it takes is one visit to the emergency room and your credit is ruined. So where do we go from here, right? So anyway, without further ado, welcome to everybody coming into the chat. I appreciate y'all. If y'all can just be so kind as to tap that like button. I appreciate everybody being here. Listen, thank you for all of the birthday wishes. We got Phoenix Rising in the building. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Appreciate you. We got Cutting Edge in the building. I appreciate you. Thank you for your beautiful spirit and wisdom. Much love. I reciprocate that to you. Thank you, Cutting Edge. Thank you so very much. Let me go up because I don't want to miss nobody. If I can help it, we got Strawberry Shortcake in the building. Thank you. It is always good to see you. I receive it, y'all. Complex Design is in the building. Absolutely. If the political situation is the status quo, then you have to be the change agent. And what do we know? We know that change is often uncomfortable and uncertain. Mostly in all cases, it's uncertain. And that makes us uncomfortable, right? But it's okay, because I'm telling you, a lot of times the routine and the normal expectations and the normal routine and the sequence of things and how they go, you get very acclimated to that. It could lead to your demise. So we have to be the agent of change that we seek to see. So I totally concur with that. So without further ado, let us get it popping. All right, hold on, y'all. I think this is it. There's a couple of different, okay, here we go.
This woman was put in charge of the border, and this was her response.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
This woman was put in charge of the border, and this was her.
I want to see that one more again, y'all. Just one more again. Talking about a deer caught in headlights. Let's go.
Response.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So
So when did you go to the border? While Trump was in office? Before Biden's tenure started? Because that border, there is no border at this point, in my opinion. So when was there a border? Because since you were put in charge of it, it was brought all the way down to the point where we got people, we don't have an accurate number as to how many immigrants are in this country. We have, but we can provide all of the resources, though. We can sell off American small businesses and then have them bank funded and federally government funded. All they got to do is just go get the paperwork, sign it, and then come and bring it to you. And they own what you toiled and sacrificed for. Y'all, I did a live. Y'all got to go through my lives. I think it was the last couple I might have done. And the sister that had the food truck, and I know that that is viral at this time. So most of us have probably seen it and are aware that she had a Venezuelan immigrant come and purchase her food truck and had documents from the government stating that they were going to back that purchase with, and what a slap in the face when you're doing it with taxpayers' money, with our money. But she had to get it out the mud. She had, God only knows what kind of sacrifices she had to make, because she was denied small business loans by several banks to the point where she didn't have any recourse but to find a way to accumulate that $25,000 herself. Okay. Now, my guess is that she probably charged more to sell it, which means that whatever she was selling it for was a guaranteed and had a guarantor to back that and say, I got you. Let's do this. All while simultaneously you have the current administration fighting to get them all registered to vote, when there is an insurmountable number of them that has no documentation, that has no legal right to be here, right? Timo says, if you live in Texas, it's the top issue which Trump addressed more than once. Kamala, not a word. She believes in open borders. Absolutely. So with that being said, let's just finish this up and we're going to go to the next one.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been.
And I haven't been to Europe. Oh, God, forgive me. Listen, okay.
To Europe.
What? Bro, what are you?
All right, y'all. Luke, y'all. So this is what you have a lot of citizens of this country standing behind, because they're in their emotions and they don't like Trump. So we're willing. She don't even look media trained, in my opinion. Not enough to be able to assume the highest office in this country. Miss me. Let's go, y'all. I can't. I just can't. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. Okay, y'all. So I have a right to be emotional. We have a right to be emotional, no matter how hypocritical that sounds, because not one president-elect has come out and said anything about reparations outside of we're not entertaining offering reparations. We're not talking about a black crime hate bill. We're not interested in empowering people of color. And as I have previously stated, we are many of these other cultures that do have these systems and protections in place that empower them and assist them in creating generational wealth, that permits them and allows them, and in some cases encourages them to send money back to their native lands and countries, to their families, while the citizens of this country mainly, and I want to put at the top of the list, our veterans, our U.S. citizens, our taxpayers, the people that have built this country, if not directly through ancestral energy and lineage. And we can't even have a conversation about making our people whole at all. And it seems as if the ones that have the complexion for protection, whether they're lying or not, they're more apt to at least hear the question or the proposals than the ones that look like you. Let's go. Sorry, y'all. I do this all the time.
Whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country.
I remember another interview I saw with Kamala Harris, Art, and she said, somebody asked her, what are y'all going to do for Black people? And she said, we can't pass laws just for Black people. She said this, we can't do things just for Black. Well, Kamala.
I just want to correct him on that. And I really have respect for Dr. Umar. And though I don't agree with everything he says, he definitely, I agree with a lot. He says she says she can't do anything. She didn't say, even though I feel that's true to a large degree, that's not what she said, because words matter. She said, I won't. I'm not. Okay? So I just wanted to make that correction.
Kamala Harris, can I ask you a question, Madam Vice President? If the Democratic Party can't do anything just for Black people, why did y'all pass a law only for Asians? Why did y'all pass a law only for Native Americans? Why did y'all pass a law only for transgenders? Why did y'all pass a law only for LGBTQs? Why did y'all pass a law only for immigrants? If you can't do anything just for Black people, this is what she said. It came out of her mouth. If you can't do anything just for Black people, how was it possible for you and President Biden to do all these other things for specific ethnic groups in this country from whose benefit no other group can take anything from?
That's key. From where nobody can take anything from them. There are protections and laws that are etched in place specifically to ensure that they are a protected group, down to the alphabet community, and as he stated, the immigrants have protections in place. I don't know about anybody else, but that's not infuriating to some. I know sometimes when I get to talking about it, I get pissed. I get really irritated because they are playing in our faces and have been for a very long time. But the games that they have played have not changed. They have not changed. They refuse to have certain conversations with us. They refuse to use certain terminology applicable to our people. They constantly, every time something happens, strategically and consistently, might I add, they turn right around and they establish bills to put protections in place for everybody other than for people in color. I always say, and many others do too, it's not my original statement, follow the money. We know that this country is a corporation. It is a business. You follow the money. That leads me to believe that, guess what? When you follow the money, Black people are the paycheck. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't support one another like we should, for whatever the reasons are. And I will also touch on and say that when we do unite, build, create, and support one another, they tear it up, burn it down, blow it up, and make it look like we don't have to explain nothing to y'all. We don't know how it happened. We not investigating. We don't care. Do what you do. Build it again and see what happens. Because they have too much to lose. We're talking about, I don't know if it's billion or $1 trillion amount that people of color spend every year. So it's not the fact that we don't have the money. Well, about now it's looking kind of crazy out here, but I'm just saying, historically, we have had the monies. We have had the monies. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they said that the Black dollar spends less than 3 days in its community, where you have the Asian community's dollar. It spends probably about 90 days to 120 days in their community before it goes out. I would even venture to say it's longer than that, especially when you're talking about groups that are totally self-sufficient. It's a whole different outcome, and it's a whole different game when you get the assistance and the help and the hand up. It's a whole different ball game. When they talk about pull yourself up by your bootstraps, I have to be honest, and I'm going to be transparent. I used to use that term. That term was used to me until I realized that how insulting it is to tell people that you have gained wealth off of comfort, peace, spending power, to tell them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, when all you do and the laws you pass, the bills you put through, do nothing but support your pockets being filled by the same people you telling to make it do what it do. That's a problem, right? I wish somebody would, at this point in my life, tell me to pull myself up by my bootstraps, when you're looking at all of these other protected groups get billions of dollars. I'm with Kwame. People talking about there's no price for my vote. Oh, yes, it is for mine. Because outside of that, I'm going to be sitting my ass right on at the house if there's no reason for me to go vote. Meaning, i.e., that policies are not presented and a good plan is in place that makes sense, that's going to benefit me and mine. And not just me and my family, but me and my people. Let's continue. Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat.
Complete contradiction. Kamala Harris is not for black people. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you why they went that way. Or if they stay that way, they could flip her out. But let's say, for the sake of conversation, because Joe Biden did pass her his nomination, even though it's not his decision. She has his support, but the party got to choose her in Chicago. But let's say Kamala Harris gets the Democratic Party nomination in Chicago the week of my birthday, August 19th, I believe the DNC begins, or the 17th. Anyhow, here's why they're going to go that way, Art. Why are the Democrats about to give us the first woman president in American history? I'm going to tell you why. In 2022, there were 10 million more women registered to vote than men in America.
Woo! And that is why I believe this was all pre-planned, in my personal opinion. I've always felt that way. And I'm going to say something that is going to sound unpopular with many, but I gotta say it. Joe Biden was old when he was elected or selected. in my opinion, which to me, I would have never paired her with him. And I knew that there was a reason for that, right? And when she said we did it, Joe, I was like, it was a stirring in my spirit, a very uneasy feeling. I didn't know what it meant at the time, but it all makes sense now. We know it is common knowledge that women of color sway the vote. Why wouldn't they put what they classify as a Black woman when it's convenient for the narrative that they want to push? Why wouldn't they pair her with him? And you see from the very beginning the decline in his cognitive dissonance. From day I saw it, I can't speak for nobody else, but I saw it, right? And I'm like, he's been saying up until what, 2 months ago that he was going to go up for re-election? You can't stay on a bicycle. Who falls up the stairs unless something is really off or deteriorating or wrong? I've heard about people falling down the stairs, but what about up? You're in the middle of a speech and you can't remember what you're saying mid-sentence. And now conveniently, 2 months before re-election or 2 months before the presidential election of 2024, conveniently he steps down. And Dr. Umar Johnson just said it. 10 million more women. That is paramount and key for me, right? Salute to the chat. I see y'all. Salute to the chat. We got Selena in the house 3 times. Selena. Hey, beautiful. We got Jenny Velez. It's so good to see y'all. Thank y'all for being here. IB is in the building. T-Rail. I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Thank you for sharing this with me, this time with me. And also thank you for sharing my birthday with me. I've had a wonderful, wonderful weekend, a wonderful day. I feel good. And I love the fact that God gave me grace enough to give me another trip around the sun with my journey. And I just do not take it for granted. So thank y'all for being here. So let's continue.
Now I'm talking everybody, Art, black, white, red, yellow, brown, gay, straight, everybody. There were 10 million more women registered to vote than men, even though there's only about 3 more million women than men in this country. Population-wise, there's not a great gender disparity. You only see that when you come to the Black community for reasons of extermination, incarceration, okay, miseducation, right? And sexual confusion, right? So outside of Black America, the male-female gender balance is almost the same. I believe there's 168 million adult women in America, and there's about 165 million adult men in America. So you only have a 3 million person discrepancy. Now, those 10 million votes, there's 10 million more women registered to vote than men are.
Ooh. So we're going to just move right along to this next one because they're going to go inside and they're going to come together. Oh, don't tell me. Did I miss it? I don't know what I did with it, y'all. Hold on.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because
I got to do that. I got to get the visuals with that.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country.
I remember.
So I always wonder what kind of, I don't know. I question what she meant by that because I've heard it 1,000 times by now. But to me, the first time I was like, is that supposed to be an insult? So basically, if it doesn't benefit the collective or it doesn't benefit everybody, then we're not deserving. We are not the ones that stand alone and deserve what so many other protected groups get in the blink of an eye. It took them less than 48 hours to pass that Asian crime hate bill. When we have our Black men and our Black boys specifically being unalived at an alarming rate for years, the odds are alarming that are against our men. If it's not drugs, then it's through violence, or it's through police brutality, or it's through abortion, and many others that I care not to mention. You can do the math on that, the mental math. What I'm saying is to me, I am tired of people playing in our face, and you're dangling that carrot in front of us from people that appear to look like us. And I mean that collectively, because I know I almost look white, but trust me, my bloodlines say different, okay? What I am saying is stop playing in our faces. And what I think bothers me even more so is the fact that we have other brothers and sisters that are calling people that are asking questions or asking for policies, or not asking, but requesting or demanding for their vote something that is tangible, something that can help specifically, maybe not only, but specifically people of color. When have the Democrats ever offered tangibles outside of social programs that in the long run keep us down, keep us stagnant, keep us dependent upon a system that wishes we didn't even exist? That's a legitimate question, in my opinion, right? So I just want to, let's see. We're going to go on, and there's one more video I would like to show with good old Kamala Harris on it as to how is she Black? I want to talk about that for a minute. How is she Black? I just don't understand how we got here and how so many are falling for the banana in the tailpipe when this is what she said.
Because
Yes.
you are
Yes.
Indian.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the
Uh-huh.
supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, you know, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like our thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
So we're
Look at the physical similarities between her and this woman. I'm going to start that again, and I'm not going to interrupt this time. This clip is only 45 seconds long, but just pay attention. And also, I noticed right off the rip how fervent and in agreement she was, to the point where she was super excited and she couldn't contain herself. But you ain't going to do nothing for Black people. Well, am I going to do anything specifically for Black people? No. But then you can have this type of enthusiasm for your Indian sister. Let's go.
we're both Indian,
Yes.
but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people
You
we're
do.
related already,
Yeah.
so this is perfect. It's basically true. And so, were you raised eating South Indian food? Okay, so what we're going to cook today
Okay.
is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you are Indian.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that every yes. Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you are Indian.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like the thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
And they are a protected class as well, right? Everybody but Black folk. They don't even try to fool nobody. They don't even attempt to validate for the sake of the vote. Or for a lack of a better word, tell a white nice lie. They don't have to do that anymore because we got this immigration problem that is been influxing over here for the entire time that this administration, this time around, even though this is not the beginning of immigrants flooding to this country, this is the first time it has been so out in the open and in our faces that we don't have no choice but to talk about it. Over $13,000 given in SNAP benefits and over $4,400 given in cash benefits. If each one of our Black citizens, working citizens, got that, what could we do with that? I'll answer that. What could we? I don't know if we would, but what we could do with that is become self-sustainable, separate, which means they would lose their cash cow. They can't let that happen. They can't let that happen. So you're talking about policy, right? One of the policies that she finally mentioned just less than a week ago was a $6,000, I don't know if it was a tax credit for newborn babies. So now we're incentivizing bad womb decisions. We already have such a despairingly uneven household when it comes to single moms raising children. So now you want more fatherless homes, more single moms having children out of wedlock, being stuck to raise the children for a one-time $6,000 tax credit, which child care is going to eat that up in less than 2 months if you take your child to a decent child care facility. That's just one example. $6,000 is like $600 at this point. It ain't going to go far. But how is that going to benefit us in the long run? And you got 4 years as a president. That money would be gone in less than 2 to 3 months. $25,000 for first-time home buyers incentives. What's going to happen when they get inside them homes at a high exorbitant interest rate and can't pay the mortgage? How does that benefit the government or the home buyer? To me, this is fluff. Just sounds good. Let's just throw some numbers out there. They're good at absorbing numbers and not doing any research and not having any critical thinking skills as to ask anything past the surface, which is money in hand, or I can get into the house, but how do I sustain the house? How do I keep up the house? How do I afford the property taxes when you have the immigrants coming into this country, taking all of the jobs for lower pay? It seems as if the foot was put on the gas and floored when people started asking for an increase to a livable wage. Everything has gone up. consistently beside a livable wage. Hold on, y'all. Somebody's at my door. Give me 1 second. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience. How are these policies, quote unquote, supposed to benefit the people collectively? And you can't convince me that it is not going to benefit them first and foremost, whether it's in the long run or in a shorter run. That plan is not going to be implemented unless they benefit more so than everybody else when it's all said and done. That's just my personal opinion. There's one other video that has also garnered some attention that I want to share. And we're not going to make this a real long live. We're looking at almost an hour. So I think that's a good time. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. I do want to take a moment, however, so I don't forget before the live is over, for the blessings through the Cash App. And I just want to say thank you so much to Alexandria for your financial blessing. I appreciate you. You're such a wonderful source of support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We got Kelvin going in the house. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Kelvin H, for your financial blessing. And SJ, the beautiful SJ, has also blessed the platform. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. If you haven't become a member, I do offer memberships. Feel free to consider doing so. Once I accumulate, a few more members, then I will absolutely start doing some members only lives and content. I haven't forgotten. I just, I want to build it up a little bit so more people can benefit from the content of the members only. And thank you for anyone that has done the super chat. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. So let's go ahead and go to this one last video, and then we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up.
Steve Harvey on voting for Kamala Harris. Let's get into it.
Intangibles or get out of my face. Ricky Smiley, I love you. Crying on the radio for Kamala Harris, my brother? That's an all-time low. Don't do that again, Ricky Smiley. And cry for Kamala. Don't you do that, my brother. If you want to cry for Kabama Harris, do that in the privacy of your house. But if we're going to be honest, Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley, and I love you both, but if we're going to be honest, Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, y'all only carried on because y'all got paid. Can we please be honest? Can we see? I want y'all to understand, overstand, and understand what King Kong is talking about. Kamala Harris and the Democratic plantation is paying you celebrities to shame black people into voting. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of that vote. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of the vote, but they being paid. Y'all being bought. They offered me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. I don't want your money, but we can definitely do the interview. King Kong consciousness ain't for sale. I'm one of the real ones.
So think about the last election. I remember right off the top, I remember D.L. Hughley. I remember, what's the rapper's name, the female rapper's name? Everybody know, the Puerto Rican. Oh, I can't even remember how I'm drawing. Y'all know who I'm talking about. There were other celebrities that were invited to the White House, that were invited to speak publicly and endorse the Democratic Party. You got Charlamagne the God doing all of these interviews, and you got people actually buying into that craziness. In my opinion, they made that be relevant and powerful. to an extent to where people, once they're reaching their impact is so long and far that people like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and vote for them because Cardi B, thank you. Dominican, thank you, Jenny. Okay, I appreciate the correction, sweetheart. So we got Cardi B. I remember. And now Cardi B mad. She mad because she endorsed and voted for Biden. So I see somewhat of a repeat performance coming this time around, provided that she does get elected, right, as the president. So my whole question is why do people continue to listen to people that don't affect their everyday lives? They provide entertainment. They are not primed or educated or trained to speak from a political stance enough to impact so many people to vote, which means to me they sold their vote for pennies, for nothing. It's like, why? Why are we still doing that when we see it's a okie doke? It's the same old, right? Let's continue.
Silverback Garvey Gorilla. Don't come to me with no propositions for money. I don't live for no money. I'm not one of these goofy ass rappers whose whole life is nothing but what you can buy and own. You dealing with real African DNA. I'm not no Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. You don't drop no check off and say, get the Negroes to the plantation on the...
Let me clear the air on something. Please. You can't hire Steve Harvey for $10,000 to do nothing. I don't know where you got that number from, but you can't offer Steve Harvey $10,000 to do nothing. You can.
I beg to differ. Maybe not 10,000 specifically, but you sitting in that chair endorsing Kamala for something. For some reason, you ain't fooling me. We know who signed your paychecks. I do. I got a pretty good idea who signed your paychecks. But there's a price. And you keep paying it over and over and over again to the alienation of people of color that see you. That see you. He irritates me, y'all. I used to really have respect for him earlier on in his career, for his grind, his hard work. But it just gets to a point where you are willing to catapult you and your legacy for the demise of your people. And I can't respect that. Let's go.
Go through the industry and ask about me. Omar, let me tell you something, man. And there ain't no hate here at all, because I like some of the work he does. I really do. Yeah. He said I don't do nothing. Nothing for $10,000. Don't even insult the brand equity that I've built over these 30 years of television. I just don't.
I'm with Dr. Umar on this one. The black vote is not for sale. And the black people that's voting need to start thinking more wisely when they're voting. Not just ignorantly just giving your vote to someone just because. Put some things on the table. See if they would agree to accomplish the things that you want to get accomplished.
I get the brother's point, but I also say that there should be a price on it. And I'll start out, I'm with Kwame on this. I'll start out at the same criteria and the same bill that you gave the Asians. That's lowballing it, right? But there definitely should be some exchange going on for the votes this time around outside of just identity politics. Enough is enough of this foolishness. I do feel that, and I firmly believe, I just don't know if it's going to happen or if it will happen or when it may happen, as to when people of color will become self-sustainable once more. I don't know if it's possible because the powers that be have gotten so bold and their time is so short, in my opinion, that the cat is out the bag to the point where they can't hide it anymore. So now they don't have to provide any promises. They don't have to give any assurances. They don't have to lie to nobody. They don't have to try to fool nobody. It is what it is. And they don't care about people of color. All you have to do is look around you. Now, I will say that I am not here to sway, influence, or tell anybody to vote or who they should vote for. That is strictly a personal choice, personal opinion based off of your decision. I am just saying that it's okay for us to ask for something or to demand something in return at some point, since it seems and has been historically proven that when people of color come out and vote in numbers, it usually defines the outcome of who is elected. We need to digest that. We need to process that. We need to fully and thoroughly understand that we matter, that our votes matter collectively. Splitting it, we're going to keep getting what we've been getting, in my opinion. And things are not looking good. Even if we were to rebound from this current administration, how long is that going to take? And how many people will we have to wake up? And that's my time, y'all. I appreciate everybody that came through. I appreciate your time. Definitely, if you don't mind, leave a comment after the stream is over, to, generate some type of discussion. I would love to hear your opinions. For those that may not have tapped that like button, if you would do so on your way out, I would be so grateful. Thank you kindly. I appreciate the engagement in the chat. I appreciate my mods. I appreciate all of the financial support and blessings that have been given to this stream and to myself. And I really, really am I'm passionate about where we're headed. I'm passionate about how we are being done. And everybody ain't gonna get it. Everybody ain't gonna wake up. But the ones that are, I need for us to understand it is our responsibility, no matter how frustrating it can be, to each one teach one, and to share what we know, the knowledge that we are realizing or have realized where we are and where we're going, based off of our decision making of how critical in a place we are as a people. Y'all, if you haven't realized it yet, we would be better off if we're not going to be slaves. We will be better off not here at all, based on whose eyes is looking through and seeing it, right? And with that, I appreciate everybody, and much love and peace. See y'all in the next chat.